Well, good evening. Good evening, and thank you very much for your turn up to this CID headquarters this evening. Yeah. You all remember that there have been attempts by the government of Ghana to use the security services to intimidate us in NDC and frustrate our activities. So we got to a point where our Council of Elders had to come out to declare that enough was enough. And that, from that day going, we are not going to respond to any frivolous invitations by the police. And that if they found anything against us, they are free to take us to court. So eventually, we began seeing newspaper headlines that an arrest warrant has been issued by a court of competent jurisdiction against our chairman. So we, being a law-abiding political party, called the police to come and confirm whether indeed there is such an arrest warrant. Because we cannot be relying on newspaper headlines. So we arranged and we met this afternoon. And indeed, they showed us the arrest warrant. And it was based on that arrest warrant that we reported to the CID headquarters. So they've asked all the questions they wanted answers for. They've searched the premises and residence of our national chairman. They've taken all his communication gadgets with the promise, and we've offered to give them the password because we don't have anything to hide. And so based on that, he's been granted bail. We've given them time to scan all the electronic gadgets.
And that's General Mosquito Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the General Secretary of the NDC, speaking from the police headquarters, the CID headquarters yesterday, after the chairman of his party, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, was granted bail. Well, over the recent kidnapping incidents, that's what this whole arrest warrant was for, after he had refused the police invitation. Well, an arrest warrant was issued, but then he decided to go to the police headquarters, and that's the aftermath. Johnson Asiedu Nketia speaking there. But I've got a ranking member on the Communications Committee of Parliament, a man who speaks very much for the NDC. ABA Fusaini is my guest. Mr. Fusaini Bashir Al-Hassan is my guest here on AM Talk. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good morning, and good morning to all your viewers across the world.
I see that you are strongly opposed to the whole idea of Mr. Ofosu Ampofo's arrest warrant, what happened there at the CID headquarters yesterday. But you're a member of parliament, and you should be for processes and procedures. I wonder why you're opposed strongly to what happened yesterday.
Yeah, clearly, without any iota of doubt, what is unfolding are the desperate acts of a failing government. This clearly smacks of persecution.
How is that?
Clearly, the security is being used as a tool by government. to attempt to intimidate and petrify the NDC into inaction.
Isn't it?
But I have no doubt in my mind that because the government has hopelessly and it has demonstrated crass acts of incompetence and hopelessly uninspiring and cannot deliver the mandate that the good people of this country gave to them, they are looking for that diversion.
You know, it's a bit, I am trying to follow this.
Yes.
But my difficulty,
yes,
because you're a member of parliament, so you should
yes.
appreciate it. The police didn't
yes.
simply just go to his house to pick him up.
Yes.
First, they invited him.
Yes.
And then the party decided that he shouldn't go, correct?
Yes, but take judicious notice of the fact that in the first instance, in the first case that even went to court, the police invited him, he obeyed. Like all law-abiding citizens, he complied. He was there. He went through the motions.
But they needed him
again.
And
when it became too incessant, it went on and on and on and on, persistently. And that lent itself to the agenda that we are talking about. My sister, you see, if there's, you hear the howling of a hyena in your neighborhood and the goat gets missing, you don't ask who caught it. It's clear. So when the signals are very clear that the constant pressure being mounted on our national chairman, with that constant invitation to him to appear before the police on matters that clearly just be seen to be severed. So we came to a point where the Council of Elders of our party, I'm sure you are aware that there was a press conference addressed by the chairman of our National Council of Elders, indicating that he should no longer comply with those invitations, and that's as law-abiding citizens. If there's any summons to any of us in court, we shall proceed to court and answer. So if the police had any other things, let them give the district docket to the Attorney General. Let the Attorney General go to court. We'll go to court and meet them in court.
Well, but the CID is an investigative arm, isn't it? If they say that you're an interested party in an ongoing investigation, nothing stops them from inviting you. And
sister,
that's exactly what they did.
Currently, the current leadership of the CID suffers a huge credibility deficit. I'm sure you are aware.
What does that?
Madam Tiwa Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, the one who is presiding over the CID today, you know, she suffers a huge credibility deficit.
What's the impacts of that?
Let me look
to what is happening to your national chairman.
If you already have a credibility deficit, nobody takes you serious, because they know that you are partisan, you are biased. You are supposed to exhibit professionalism in the discharge of your duties. What has happened to her in the case of the A+ tape, where she talked openly of a cover-up because their government is in power.
But she denied that.
Never in the annals of our country's history.
Can you prove that? Because she said that tape was doctored.
So when you are investigating a doctored tape of Honorable Ofosu Ampofo, that one, you are not prepared to accept that it is a doctored tape. Yours was doctored.
Do you simply just accept it, or you investigate and you come to the conclusion
what
that
investigations did the CID do?
This is doctored?
Have you ever seen a report of the A+ tape? That was before the CID.
I should be asking you, a member of parliament.
I'm telling you that is the question all Ghanaians are asking.
If you are interested in this
because they have swept it under the carpet.
You could have put an urgent question before the House.
We have even called the Interior Minister. I am telling you that it has not happened. They have swept it under the carpet. That is typical of this government. So
the fact that there was a tape leaked, which purportedly had her voice on it, and she denied some of the things and said it was doctored, also means that your party chairman, in this case, is in court. So the substantive matters we shouldn't be discussing.
Yes.
So is that justification enough?
It's not justification.
This one
I'm saying
to be just thrown under the carpet?
Her crass acts of incompetence are one too many. Look at the issue of the Takoradi girls.
What exactly did she do wrong? This is a
critical national issue. She went on a platform and indicated to Ghanaians that they know where the girls are. Am I like my sister? That they know where the girls are, and very soon they'll be joining their families. How many months now? She went on another sister network only to say it was a matter of comic relief.
She didn't say exactly that.
That's what it was.
She said that
she was giving false hope.
Well, again, she didn't use false.
False hope.
She didn't say
That's what she sought to do. She said that she only wanted to give hope. False hope. Are we putting officers of that caliber in place to give our people false hope? We pay her, give her all those facilities. to only provide us with false hope. In a civilized country, this woman should not be in office, anywhere near the police headquarters.
So I'm asking the impact or the significance of the issues you have with the CID boss.
That is what we say. It's being used as a political instrument.
What is happening to the chairman of your party?
It's being used as a dirty political instrument. And that should not be happening. It should function professionally.
But again,
the police is there to protect all Ghanaians and not to serve as an instrument of any political party.
You know, you sit in a very
privileged place. That is what they are using them for.
You sit in Parliament. Again, if you have issues, clearly you do.
Yes.
Why haven't you filed?
I'm saying that in a number of cases, motions have been filed for the Interior Minister to appear. It's the Interior Minister who appear to answer those questions. But as you can know, the business of the House is controlled by the leadership. I'm sure you are aware. So you have to go through the motions. If in the wisdom of the leadership and Mr. Speaker, more importantly, believes that the motion should be admitted and the officer should appear before the House to answer. If the Mr. Speaker doesn't believe it, it dies. So it is not only the ambit of Parliament. There are other institutions that can deal with it, including, like I said, getting the people to go there and register their anger at what is happening in the country.
What do you mean by getting the people to go there and register their anger?
Look, in a democracy, protests are legitimate tools. Okay? I'm sure you accept that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So when people get to a point where they see that you are engaging in these malicious invitations, malicious arrests.
But there hasn't been anything like that.
That is what is happening. That is what is happening now. What is happening to our national chairman? It's malicious arrests they are doing. You go to court to go and seek warrant. First, they wanted to do it. Okay, in the first instance, they tried it. And our people resisted, and they had to go look for the warrant. And you are saying that, look, in this particular matter, what we have been told is that it is in connection with allegations somebody made to the effect that our national chairman was involved in the burning of markets in Kumasi. This is a cock and bull story.
How is that a cock and bull story?
Look, where is
when we haven't gotten to the bottom of it?
My sister, where is the person who made the allegations? Can you show me?
You should be asking the police.
We ask them. They can provide. Where is the person who is making the allegation? Bring the person. Let's see the person.
But how does
and see under this regime?
How does that matter if they actually have proof?
Under this regime, it is not strange for them to cook up stories. Even under this regime, we have had dead people write petitions. And the petitions have materialized into the removal of people from office. And I'm talking of the Madam Charlotte Osai. In her case, one of the petitioners was a dead person who died years ago. His name featured on the petition.
And there was...
Yet the petition was admitted and it went.
There was proof of that?
Yes, it went through the president. And the president was the one who fast-tracked that petition.
Yes, I'm talking
even
about...
Even though he says that it's a conveyor belt for
I'm talking
petitions.
About proof of this...
There's a petition pending against the Chief Justice by citizens of law. He has refused to submit it.
Really?
Okay? Yes.
But I was going back to the earlier point you made. But I guess that could be for another matter. I am talking about the fact that you are asking for the person who made the allegation.
Yes,
but you're not interested in the proof. If what is proof that he's really involved in
sister,
something, you are saying that the police shouldn't investigate?
You haven't caught the madman. You are talking of shaving him.
Please explain.
Catch him first. You haven't dealt with preliminary matters. You are going to advanced matters. Because somebody is making allegations. It's fair that I know who is making the allegations. I mean, is it not fair? Is it not fair when you make allegations against me? I ask who is making the allegations? Is it not a fair question to ask? So who is making the allegations against our national chairman? And we say that they are faceless people. They are only trumped up charges dreamed by this government and using the CID and the police to try and effect this discredited agenda. It doesn't work for the
Mr. Hussaini, granted that they are faceless people, what if there is proof that he's actually involved in something, and so he's an interested party, and the police want to further investigate? Is it not investigations that would conclude that indeed he's not? What are you afraid of as a party?
As part of the preliminary, just show us those who are making the allegation. It's very simple. Very, very simple.
And then what?
And then we can proceed. Because I cannot deal with faceless allegations from faceless people.
You're not dealing with faceless people. You're dealing with the police.
Where are they?
They have the mandate to investigate when allegations are made.
They don't engage in malicious conduct. Even Article 296 of the Constitution of this Republic makes it abundantly clear that as an officer of state, if you are vested with the discretion to act, you have a duty to be fair.
Okay, so let's look at
So it is not as if because they can do anything. They are not above the law.
Mr. Fuseni, help us with those elements that come together to form that malicious conduct that you say.
I'm just saying, for instance, you are making allegations that our national chairman is complicit in acts of burning markets. And these are allegations coming from people. And we ask, where are the people making the allegations? Can you show us the people? And let us hear from them. And let us see whether they have ever even seen the national chairman, let alone even ever sat with him. You can provide that. And you want us to proceed on that basis. And I'm saying that we in the NDC have been extremely law-abiding. Look, my sister, not too long ago, the MPP, when they were in opposition, they told Ghanaians, they held a press conference at their national headquarters and said that they have passed a vote of no confidence in the Ghana Police Service and that they will no longer cooperate with the police. When they invited their acting chairman, Mr. Freddie Blay, to appear at the police headquarters to answer allegations of fraud and other things that Mr. Paul Afoko and others had raised, what happened? They passed a vote of no confidence in the Ghana Police Service and said that from that day, they will no longer cooperate with the police. We have not done that. We are only pointing to the fact that they are engaging in malicious conduct, which is an abuse of the rights of our chairman. And it is part because they are used as a political instrument by this government, by the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo. Because already they are panicking that with the few decisions President Mahama and our national chairman have made, there is a groundswell of support. People came out in their numbers. And they are already seeing that their days are numbered. And so there's a panic in their ranks. So they must find ways in which they can hold the national chairman captive and emasculate him and prevent him from working. But it will never happen.
We will continue with this conversation and go to the next leg of it. But there's some breaking news coming through right now. Well, breaking news coming in this very minute says that the two Canadian young ladies kidnapped in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, they have been found. We will bring you a lot more details when we do have it here on the show this morning. In the meantime, I've got the ranking member of Communications Committee of Parliament, A.B. Fuseni, a member of the National Democratic Congress. We've been talking about the arrest of the party chairman, subsequent release, and issues with regards to that here on the AM show. Stay with us. All right, so the breaking news coming through is that the two Canadian ladies kidnapped in the Ashanti region have been rescued. Here's a statement that has been released. It says national security operatives in the early hours of Wednesday, 12 June 2019, completed an operation which successfully rescued the two Canadian women recently abducted in the Ashanti region. Details of the operation and ongoing efforts to ensure that similar incidents are successfully resolved will be made available in a subsequent press briefing scheduled for 15 hours today. Government continues to encourage the media and commentators to be circumspect in public commentary on security matters in order not to compromise other related operations. Citizens and travelers are once again assured that Ghana remains safe. And the statement signed by Kojo Ponkroma, the Information Minister. So that's the news coming in right now. That the two women, Canadian women, who were kidnapped in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, they have been rescued. There will be a lot more in that communication that's been released. There's a lot more later on at 3 p.m. today. I have to ask you for your reaction. This is certainly good news. That's the same police that you're accusing. That's national security. This is good.
The news we are looking for. When us all Ghanaians, where are our kidnapped girls? We are talking about Canadians. What about Ghanaians? The duty of government, of this government, is it more to Canadians than to Ghanaians?
Well, government has a duty to protect every person, including citizens and foreigners who come into our country.
Yes.
Are you saying this is not good news?
I'm not saying it's not good news, but I'm saying that it is not something we should be gloating about.
Why not?
Why? In the first case, should it have even happened? Since when did you hear this in this country? Until the advent of the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo. Did you hear things like this?
Oh, this won't be a fair comment from me. Are you saying that things didn't happen under the NDC administration?
Never in the annals of our country of this magnitude. Never. And if there's any error, show me. We have never gone through what we are going through today.
What are we going through today?
Terrible. Our security is in a mess. The security and safety of Ghanaians today is in jeopardy. Many Ghanaians today cannot sleep with their eyes closed.
Including you?
Oh, sure. One will open. You sleep with a cocked eye. And it's clear. And you can see it all over. Ghanaians are petrified. And so, this particular thing that you are talking about, we should be more interested. Where are our girls?
I thought that this should give us all the hope that indeed the 3 girls who have gone missing from Chakade,
because you see that
all
these countries have issued alerts, have warned their citizens. Look at the image of Ghana. Ghana has an enviable image in the eyes of the international community. Okay? We have been touted as a haven of peace, stability, order, and security. In this otherwise turbulent sub-region. So Ghana has that hard-won image is being eroded in the last 2 years.
These times, this is not exclusive to Ghana. In other words, that's what I'm trying to say. Because we know, for instance, the terror alerts that came to the situation, particularly in Burkina Faso. We share border with Burkina Faso. We can't be isolated from all the things happening around us.
We have never been isolated in all those years. The time of President Rawlings, the time of President Kufuor, the time of President Atta Mills, and President John Dramani Mahama. None of them were isolated.
But aren't all these leaders
why is it happening this time
with these different things?
I am saying that never in the annals of our country's history have we gone through what we are going through today.
Well,
never.
In the times that you've talked about, you see, we were not faced with this kind of terror.
Yes, and I'm saying, when did President Gaddafi fall? From Libya. It didn't happen under Nana Akufo-Addo. It happened long before him. And that is when all the threats came up. Under President Mahama, he was able to hold the country together, the country's stability, the country's peace and order was sacrosanct. You never had anything closer to what is happening today. So you just ask yourself, this is a government that has the biggest number of appointees. An atrocious government of 125 ministers. Show me anywhere in the world you have even 80 ministers in any government. China has a population of 1.5 billion. Go and see that. They have 22 ministers. You go to China to go and take loan, and you have 125 ministers. This is the government that has the biggest security architect in terms of numbers of ministers. Minister for Interior and deputies. You have a national security minister. You have a minister of state in charge of national security. You have a minister, you have a national security coordinator. You have an IGP. You have you can count and you even lose count. In spite of all this multitude of officers, look at the kind of security we have. Look at the kind of security this country has. You are spending all this money, the taxpayers hard-earned money. And this is the result. Very paltry, disappointing results.
I thought that you'd be impressed that these ladies went missing and they have been found, really.
I'm saying that they have been found. It's okay that they have been found. And I'm saying that there is a bigger question. Your allegiance is more to Ghanaians, not just foreigners. Rescue foreigners who are here at our district, we have a duty to protect them. I will never run away from. But I'm saying that our fundamental duty, and more importantly, this is a matter which happened almost 2 years ago. Okay? What has happened? And especially when you tell us, you know where they are. Did they know where the Canadians are? Did they know? At least we never got any information that they knew where the Canadians are, but they have been able to find them. What about the situation where you yourself tell us, you know where the girls are? So what has happened to our girls? This is a government that cares less about Ghanaians. And Ghanaians should know, because you see, it happened in the same instance, and it was not said by an NDC person for them to say it's propaganda. It was said by Honorable Osafu Mafu, senior minister, that Madam Aisha Huang was released. Government filed a nolle prosequi to let her go back to China. When Ghanaians who committed less atrocious acts are languishing in jail, Madam Aisha Huang, who committed more atrocious things on the basis of which she was standing trial in court, is let go. So this is the mindset of this government.
Let's talk about another.
They're not
angle.
interested in Ghanaians.
Let's look at another angle to this rescue. We know that the Canadians themselves brought in support. Should we be looking at, let's look at Parliament, because you have the capacity to invite the Interior Minister. Do we need extra collaboration in finding these girls?
Will I be wrong if even people start even in saying that, oh, maybe it's the expertise that help us to resolve the matter?
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? If we don't have the capacity, we simply don't have the capacity.
Tell you,
if we don't have the expertise, we don't have the expertise. We were here when the Melcom building went down. We brought people from elsewhere to help with the rescue operation.
Let me tell you without any iota of doubt that our security personnel are among the most competent you can get in the world. I'm not saying in Africa, in the world. I have no doubt in my mind that we are very competent and capable people in our security whose expertise can help us unravel many of these things.
Yet when they invite your party
what
chairman,
is happening is
you have an issue with it.
We have a government that, because of its unbridled interference in the work of our security decisions, they have lowered morale. They have killed morale today. Go out and talk to the people in the security. They will tell you their morale is very low. Because of the acute interference of this government.
Why are you getting this information from?
I'm telling you, why? We talk to the security people. And I'm telling you that as a member of parliament, I meet so many people. And this is what this government is doing. That is killing morale. Look, we have very competent officers who when they are put in positions. This IGP is the IGP who has done more reshuffles than even achieved results. Okay? But we have more competent police officers who, when they are at the helm of affairs, they will deliver results, because the governments have been saying that if somebody wants to swear his father, he has already wrestled and put somebody down. Okay? And so the evidence is there. Look at the likes of COP Kofi Boakye. Everybody talks about this gallant police officer. Everywhere he has gone, he has achieved results. Okay? They talk about Commissioner of Police, Dampare. There are many very competent officers. But they are being sidelined. You saw them to research. By this government. They will send you somebody of that, you send him to research. Or send him to some camp.
Is it because you don't value research?
I'm saying that you may value research, but it's the times that dictate the men. When your times dictate that you should bring people who have the caliber and the competence and the determination and the dedication to do the work, you elevate them to the forefront. You don't go and hide them in the background. So it is the times that we are in. These times don't call for armchair IGPs or CID bosses.
Is that what is happening now?
Yes, we need proactive, competent field workers. An IGP who is on the field, and you see the results. That is why we are talking, see, in the likes of COP, Kofi Boakye, and others. But they are not giving them the opportunity.
I am not advocating for them to be.
Look, the other day, I think it was Joy FM, or you did. I followed Joy FM. You did a survey and other things. Who came up on top? Madam, I'm just so that you yourself will say for your listeners. When you did the survey, which police officer came on top?
I am trying to get the to get the explanation going, so we can appreciate. So that we can appreciate. So that we can appreciate what you're saying. So what's the point you're making? Yeah, are you pointing out of these men and IGP who is more competent than the one that we have?
So that it doesn't sound like I am doing it. I just ask you, Madam. I'll be honored if you just give me the answer. When the Joy FM did the decision, which police officer came on top? As the person, Ghanaians think will be the best IGP in our circumstance.
So what does that mean?
Who was the person?
What does that mean?
Just give me the name and we can proceed.
What does that mean to what is happening currently?
Yeah, because that is to tell you that the man we need for the job who can deliver results. We are interested in results. Not partisan relationship or friends and family or cronies. You want results.
Is that what this current IGP is doing?
I'm saying that when the results, everybody is complaining that our security is in a sort of a mess. So those who can fix the job, give them the job to do.
Let's go back.
That's what Ghanaians are looking for.
Let's go back to your party chairman. Now that he's been granted bail, I just want to share that he is to report on Thursday, which is tomorrow, June 13, report back to the police. What's the plan? Because initially the party had simply said that he was not going to make himself available. Now it is not come. This time is a warrant that is insisting that you commit or you show yourself, you make yourself available to us. now that he's been asked to report back June 13. What's the plan of the NDC?
I'm sure on this matter, our lawyers are more competent to deal with it than Mr. Me. I'm not a learned man. I'm just a savannah boy from the northern region. So I don't know the law.
Yeah, but you're down there.
You're
down there. You support the fact that people went to the.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
people went to the CID headquarters.
I will be there myself. And that is why we are serving notice.
But what's the point? What's the point in going to the CID? Have you been invited?
We should not.
Have you been invited?
This is a malicious. That's why I say that is a malicious invitation.
Mr. Fuseni, you haven't been invited.
And that is why I'm saying that
to the police CID. So if you go there tomorrow, what are you going to do? I'm
saying that they should stop being used as an instrument. It doesn't augur well for this country. I
thought you'd say that you would go through the motion, you go through the process, so that we can get to the bottom of this.
That is exactly why I told you that the lawyers who were there yesterday to negotiate the bill are better placed.
Yeah, but you've just said to us.
If in their wisdom
you've just said to us that you will go there.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
So I'm asking, what would you be going there to do?
The fact that the lawyers are handling it.
Are you the chairman? Are you Samuel Ofosu Ampofo? Have you been invited by the police?
That is why I'm saying that it doesn't preclude any member of the NDC or any Ghanaian from going there to show solidarity with our national chairman.
But when you do that, do you realize that your party people would follow, would also go there?
Sure, and
is that what we should be doing?
All NDC members from now onwards to endeavor to stay awake, vigilant, and at the distance of the next season, they should patronize it massively.
Why?
Massively.
To what end? Why?
Because you see, number one, I said that it is constitutional and legal, legitimate. There is no law that says that you cannot go to court and show, or you cannot go to the police station and show solidarity.
But you remember the chaos the last time when party people decided to besiege the police headquarters. I mean, you know what happens.
So that is exactly why I'm saying that if you went and took a hyena's cap to your house, if there's devastation in your house, don't blame the hyena, blame yourself.
Mr. Fuseni, you're encouraging.
I am indicating to you.
You are a member of parliament and you're encouraging chaos?
No, nobody. In fact, the NDC is credited with this constitution of this republic. Okay? That has brought stability to our country for all this period. And so, if there's anybody who is interested in the stability of this country, first and foremost, is the NDC.
Do you care?
So, we are law about it. I just gave you, my sister, I just gave you evidence that when the MPP was in opposition, they passed a vote of no confidence in the Ghana Police Service. And that they have lost confidence in the police and will not cooperate with them. We have not said that. We have not passed a vote of no confidence. On the contrary, I even have a lot of confidence in our police service.
Are you interested
and so, but we are saying that they should stop and not allow themselves to be used as a tool for this malicious harassment that they are doing. It's nothing but an attempt to just harass the national chairman and stultify the NDC.
Are you interested in knowing whether or not Mr. Ofosu Ampofo really is involved in this matter that he's been accused of? Are you really interested in knowing?
Because we know it's a cock and bull story.
How do you know
it doesn't add up. We know our national chairman. We know who he is. He's a man of integrity. He's a gentleman par excellence. Anybody who knows Honorable Ofosu Ampofo will testify. Even those in government today, they know him. It's because of the dirty political work that they want to do, because they are faltering very badly. They are failing Ghanaians big time. And so they want to look for an opportunity for a diversion, to look for an opportunity to keep the NDC busy in court so that the campaign is not prosecuted. But they lie bad. I am telling you, and the good people of this country will uproot them like cassava by the grace of Allah, inshallah, 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 on December 7th, 2020. Because they are beginning to see the signs. And when the national chairman took the presidential candidate of our party, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, out in Accra and a few places, it rocked the establishment. And so they've seen what is coming. And so they think that let's keep him busy in court so that he cannot function. Look, we have had more terrible cases. My sister, the president's spiritual advisor, Ofosu Ampofo, he issued threats of death. He's walking free. The police have never taken him on.
Haven't we gone past that?
Okay. He even accused this veteran journalist, Mr. Kweku Baku, of murder. Can you believe this? The police have heard all this other. They have not gone for him. They will come for Honorable Ofosu Ampofo because of trumped up charges.
You can make a report.
Okay. I said even Mugabe Matthew of XYZ, he made a report to the police about threats of death on him by Ofosu Bempa. What has happened? Ofosu Bempa invaded the premises of XYZ, a so-called man of God, the president's spiritual advisor. What happened to him? Because he has close ties with the president, nobody can touch him.
Has the president introduced him as such?
He doesn't need to introduce him. We are Ghanaians. We all live here together. I'm not coming from Kuku's land. I'm living in Ghana.
I would like to say thank you so much for your time this morning. Very interesting, this conversation, and then we'll see how that goes. But you're still going to the place tomorrow, even though you haven't been invited by the CID?
You can be sure there will be more NDC people there tomorrow. And
then?
To show solidarity. I'm telling you that, you remember when the NPP was in position, they did worse. We are very civil. We are law-abiding. And so we have been very restrained. But don't underestimate.
Yet you're calling on
let nobody underestimate our capacity. That if you want to intimidate us and petrify us into inaction, you are swimming against the tide. It will never happen. And I can serve notice. This government must beat this one very well. That all of us are interested in securing the peace, order, and stability of this country. They must not engage in this kind of malicious conduct that will throw our destiny into jeopardy. Already, our name in the annals of the international community, which was very enviable, is being dragged in the mud. We've seen all these alerts being issued across the length and breadth by many of our the developed partners. And so it doesn't augur well for our image and integrity. And so it is important that we draw from the brink. These things cannot keep the NPP in power. They should go and deliver. It's the delivery that will give them power, not arrest of an intimidation of a national chairman of our party.
Member of Parliament for Sagnerio has been my guest, and he sits on quite a number of committees.
When Daria is going around the house, he's looking for the landlord. The president is in charge. Let him show that the peace, order, and stability of this country matter to him than anybody, and stop this malicious.
The last problem, I'm not sure I understood that.
Yes, I say, you see, all these problems going around, it's around the president. That's why I say when Daria is going around the house, he's looking for the landlord.
He sits also on the Youth, Sports and Culture Committee, and I've got to ask you just before we wrap up. We know that the Speaker asked 2 committees to sit and look at this matter of possibly, if there's an issue there, regulating churches. Have you gone through the first meeting yet?
Not yet. I'm sure it's a matter that would do with better consultation and advice. We are talking about religion, and religion evokes extreme sentiments.
Yeah. So the 2 committees haven't sat yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I'm sure it's coming. But we think that we should do some more background consultations.
Okay.
And involve stakeholders in order, because Parliament, to do a legislation, must come out with an act that is all-encompassing, an act that will stand the test of time, an act that will serve our supreme national interest.
Okay.
And so that is why.
Just in 30 seconds, where do you stand? Where do you stand on the whole debate? Are you for regulation or not?
It's a very dicey issue. I think that, look, there are a lot of charlatans in the system. Some people are abusing religion for their own personal selfish interests. So it is the state has a duty, government has a duty to ensure that sanity prevails. Just as government has a duty in other financial sectors and others, they are doing this. And government has a duty to ensure that our religious is regulated in an environment that Ghanaians are protected. So in any enterprise where Ghanaians are fleeced off, that enterprise is used to, as it were, rob Ghanaians of their legitimate earnings and others. Government has a duty to step in.
So you are
and so, yes, there must be some bit.
Okay.
How it is done is very important, so that it doesn't look like we are impinging on the right of freedom of association and religion and worship that Ghanaians have.
Absolutely. I am so grateful for your thoughts this morning. That's Fusaini Bashir Al Hassan. You usually hear ABA Fusaini. He's been my guest on AM Talk.